Hi everyone, Jill Lancet. How is everybody? It's a sparkling winter day here, and I'm in Sydney in Greystanes, and I do hold in-person classes in Maryland. If you're interested or you live in the area, please do send me an email and I'll get that info off to you. If you'd like to shop with me and you are in Australia, that is my store right there. Now, you can also access all of my social media from that online store, so I'd appreciate it if you gave me a thumbs up, and if you subscribe, you'll always get a notification when I upload new posts and videos and stuff. And yeah, share it with your crafty friends if you think anybody would be interested in these videos. So I think we'll get started. So I have the cover of the mini catalogue here. I'm not allowed to show you inside yet, but that will be going live on the 6th of September. So you'll be able to get your hot little hands on that shortly. Unless you're in already a demonstrator or you're in my team, you can have access to that right now. That's one of the perks of being a demonstrator. But look, I'm going to show you some things that I got in my pre-order the other day. On Sunday we did a card where it was totally stamping, and that's fantastic. But what if you just don't have time to do all that fancy stamping? I'm going to show you how to let the paper do the work, but I'm going to show you the beautiful Christmas paper that I got from this catalogue. And yeah, it's just so lovely. I love it. It reminds me of watercolour. So I'm going to show you the card first, and then we will dissect all the bits and pieces. Now you're wondering what's going on here, Jill. I have all my little bits and pieces here, except the card. Where's the card? Oh, there it is. Oh my goodness. See, it doesn't pay to be too organised. So this is the card we're going to make. Now this paper does not come with that beautiful gold shimmer on it. I hope you can see that. I'm going to show you how we took ordinary, like beautifully ordinary, to the next level. So I'm using just one little stamp, and it's from this new Magical Meadows stamp set that I got the other day, and it's just this little sentiment here: may this season of sparkle bring joy and delight. Isn't that lovely? So we'll pop that away. We don't need that now. The only things from the current annual catalogue are these beautiful brushed metallic dots. Now they're on page 141 of the annual catalogue. The next thing we're going to be using is the Simply Elegant trim. Now you get silver and gold in the one pack, and that's on page 144. Beautiful. And finally, the last thing we're going to be using, and I want to bring your attention to this because it's a standalone die. It doesn't come with a stamp set. It's called Nested Essentials, and you get these 3 shapes. You get 4 of each size. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, 4 of each size, and they're so handy to have. Now they're on page 165 in the annual catalogue, and they will fit through the mini stamp and cut and emboss machine, which we will be doing some die cutting with that. So let's go. Let's jump straight into this because I'm really excited to show you how just one sheet of designer series paper can elevate your cards. So we'll do that. These are the papers. Now I'm going to take them out of this glary bag because there's nothing worse. And they are called, if you want to make a note of this, it's called Joy of Christmas. And the item number is 161958. You can't purchase this as yet, but come the 6th of September, you'll be way ahead of the game because you will have already seen it here. Isn't that beautiful? It's like watercolour. Now I'm just going to show you what's in the pack. They're 12 by 12, so you've got 4 sheets of 12 by 12, 2 of each design. So we've got this beautiful design, and this is the back of that. And I don't know if you can see that, but it's like leaves, like background of leaves in all different shades. Isn't that lovely? Then we've got a check, your standard check, and it's got wood grain with musical notes on it. If you haven't seen these before, yeah, look at this one. Now that's not specific to Christmas, so you can use this one all year round if you wish. And on the back of that is like the green one. It's red. You probably could see the leaves and stuff a bit better on this one. Isn't that lovely? And a smaller, similar design to this one, only smaller. Traditional Christmas, red and green, traditional Christmas. This has got another set of notes on it. We've got our green check in our green gingham. And on the back of that is some wood grain. And then this one here has some other wood grain. So, yeah, you'll be able to see that in our new catalogue in September. Okay, now, a couple of things I'm going to be using are not in our catalogue, and I will explain to you. Look, I'm a crafter from way back, and I have loads of stuff. Now, I just want to show you what I've done here. This is our designer series paper. It's one panel. Now, out of your 12 by 12, you probably will get 6 of these, because if you cut it correctly, you will get 6. So if you're using this particular design, you should get 12 out of this one. But any of the designs would work. So we need a card, a traditional card base. We've got all of our bits and pieces here. Now, I want to show you how I treated this, because I want to give it a bit of time to dry. So, as I said, I've got loads and loads and loads of craft stuff. I've been crafting for many years, and yeah. Now, whether you go to your local $2 shop and get your cheapest metallic paints that they have, this will work. This will work with them. Or whether you prefer to go more expensive and get your little pot pans of your metallic colours. Now, as I said, I've been around for a long time. I even have these little H2Os, Luminart H2Os. Now, I've had these for years, and they literally last for years. They do. They're very solid, and they're very mica. They have a lot of mica in them, which gives them the metallic look. So whatever metallic you're using, you'll get similar results. Now, this one here is this watercolour, metallic watercolour, and it's highly pigmented with the mica. But you can get just as good results with this El Cheapo one. Now, I'm going to do it with the El Cheapo one, but here I tried it out just on some black to show you that the results are just as good. So don't rush straight out and pay the big dollars to get the good paints first. Try them with the cheaper brands and see if you like them first. Then decide whether you want to do that. So I'll show you how we got this, okay? Now, I use just a block as my little palette, and I'm going to use these ones now, and we will compare the difference. So look, this came with the cheapest, nastiest little brush you could ever see, so that's gone. But what I've done here is I've just cut out my panel, and what size did I cut it to? Just bear with me. Can't find a ruler when you want one. Now, this rule is only in inches, so I'm sorry, it's only in inches. But this panel is a little bit less than, well, it's 3 and 15/16. Oh my gosh, it's probably something different oh, what am I doing? I've got a ruler here. Dear, oh dear. Okay, so we've got, say 14, not quite, I'd say 14.3 centimeters by 10. And if you're into inches, you're looking at 5 and 5/8 by 3 and 15/16. Sorry for the tiny measurements, but anyway, if you wanted to know that, I'll put it down in the details. So I've got my little block here, and I'm going to put some water into here, and this is just the gold. Now look, these water brushes are great. Now you could just carry these with you. That doesn't take up a lot of room. This doesn't take up a lot of room. You know, if you're traveling and you're doing crafting, these things really don't have to take up a lot of room. So I'm really letting that get wet. And then I'm going to mix it up. And you can see how the mica in this paint moves. I hope you can see that anyway. Anyway, I'm going to put a big glob of this on my block. And you don't need a terrible lot. We're just splashing this. Now I'm going to turn that music down. It seems a bit loud to me. Okay, so you might want to have some protection on your desk. So I'm just going to get a piece of scrap paper. And what I like to do is just use something like the edge of the block, and I'm just going to flick this across the surface of this paper. So we're going to let this dry before we do anything to it. It won't take long, it's only splashes. Now you can turn this around so that your splashes go in multi-directional ways. Sometimes I get a little bit too focused on one thing. Look at that. Now I'll hold that up. We'll pop those out of the way now that we're finished with those. And I want to just show you, when that's dry, that will be just as lovely as the more expensive paints. So we'll leave that to dry, and if you're impatient, you can hit that with the heat tool. Now that, just leave that, that will dry. You've not wasted anything in your little pans, and we'll just carry on to the next step. So the next step is our fold our card base. This is just an A4 cut in half, scored at 10.5 centimeters. And I'm just going to fold that and give it a good score with my bone folder. Okay, so that we can pop over here. I'll leave this here so you can see how we're going. Now in my little box of tricks here, I've got these beautiful brushed metallic dots. And you get a brushed gold, a brushed copper, and I believe that's brushed brass. And that is very tricky to say. We're going to use those. We're only going to use one. And this is the one die we're going to use. Now I wanted to show you, I did this on Sunday night's video where I cut a larger die a larger die shape down. But this time I'm not even going to use the larger die. The border is too big to fit on the card, this mat, so I'm just going to make my own out of here. But we're going to do some stamping, then we're going to do some die cutting all together. So I have my greeting here. I have some cherry cobbler. This is a very old ink pad. This is one of the very, very old ones. Now, what I'm going to do is just make sure I've got this going the right way, because this is just a scrap. Just a scrap. So I think I'd like to have it this way, so I've got a little bit of leeway to put my die when I come to cut it out. So I'm just going to ink this up, and we'll give this a bit of a test run. Beautiful, very fine font. Isn't it lovely? I really like this one. So we're just going to put that down towards the bottom here. And it doesn't have to be straight, because we're going to be arranging the die around it, which is often the easiest way to do that, is to stamp it first and then die cut it. But sometimes, you know, that doesn't work and you need to do it the other way around. But anyway, in this instance, we're fine. Okay, so there is our beautiful little sentiment. Now, this is just removable tape. I always use this. It's just standard sticky tape, but it is removable. So now I want to line this up around this, and as I said, I've allowed myself a bit of leeway to line this up. And I'm just going to pop that down like that. And run that through my little stamp and cut and emboss machine. This little thing lives on the shelf just over here. It's very handy for me to just grab when I need it. You get a number 1 plate, a number 2, and another number 2. Now you can see these are really well used. And when this one's no longer viable, I'll change this one for that and get some new plates. You can buy the new plates. So I'm just going to cut this down so that it fits through. And I'm just popping that in there like that. Now I'm just going to wind it through. I'm sure you've seen die cutting before. I always give it a second run through. That can go back away, out of the way. Leave my desk a little bit clearer. And I'm just going to pop that out. Isn't that lovely? These plates can go away. Now, to achieve that matte behind it in the red, I didn't want a very big border, and as I said, the next one up is just a little bit too big for the card. So what I've done is I've just simply drawn around this die, and I'll just show you. So you don't need any fancy equipment for this. So I'm just going to put a bit of tape just to help me hold this in place. Now this tape I use over and over and over again until it's no longer able to be useful. So I'm just doing a line all the way around. Hope you can see this. And I'm just going to use my scissors to cut this out. So no fancy equipment required in this respect. So I'm going to use my snips. And I'm just going to, first of all, just cut this one. And now I've got a straight edge to guide me. So I'm just following along the pencil line. Now take your time. If you feel a bit nervous, just take your time. There's no great hurry here. Now, you can use long-bladed scissors. They do make it a bit easier. I'll show you with these long-bladed scissors. Because you don't have to keep opening and shutting them. So your preference, totally your preference. So one chop, one more chop to go. So fussy cutting essential. Longer bladed scissors are really good for this sort of cutting. Now let's have a look at our little piece. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that gorgeous? I just love that spattering of the gold. Okay, so now we're putting this together, and I'm just going to use some liquid glue and attach these. Now just check, because your cutting may not be straight, you may not have done it correctly. Look, perfect. I'm pretty sure you can't go wrong. Just a bit of glue. It will ooze through those holes, so avoid those holes. And there we go. Look at that. That just finishes that off for me. That just completes that picture. So we've got this, and we have our trim. Now, you get loads of this stuff. You get silver and gold. And there's loads there. Now, I'm only using this much, which is just over, oh, I don't know. I can't measure. I'm not measuring today. Oh, dear. Well, it's over 12 inches, so just, what I did was I just wrapped it around my 4 fingers 3 times. That's the length. That's the length. And all I did was just bunch it up behind our little sentiment. Gosh, I don't know. I'm getting mind blank again today. Sorry about that, guys. So I'm just putting some Stamp and Seal just along the back. And we are going to pop this up on dimensionals. So just wrap it around as many times as you like. And then somehow, messily, just stick that down into that. And if you're not happy, there's not enough up this end, just pull it up and move it again. There we go, just like that. There you go. So that's going to go onto our card front. And I'm pretty sure this is dry now. Now, if it's not, use your heat gun just on number 1. It just is a lower level of heat and fan. And that should be enough to just quickly dry that if you're in a hurry. But you could do the whole page before you cut it up and put that aside to dry if that was a time restriction for you. Now we've got our card base here. Make sure it opens to the right side. We're just going to put some, we just need little bits of Stamp and Seal. Now this is another great thing if you're traveling and you're crafting. This is not going to take up much room in your luggage. This is dry glue, so that's not going to leak everywhere as long as you don't lose the lid like I have. Now we're just popping this on. Now this is directional, this paper. You can see these leaves go up, so just make sure that you're putting that on in the right direction. And we've got a lovely little white border And that ties us in with our sentiment. Now just bear with me, I'm not directly over this. So there we go. Give that a bit of a rub from the back. And look, we're nearly there. This is going straight up onto dimensionals. Now, I'm still using up these ones from the kit that I had purchased, ages ago. This just happens to be the right length, except for one little bit on the end. Don't throw that away. Be surprised how handy that comes in. Now, I'm going to cut one of them in half and just use the 2 halves. Just pop one. Now, not only does this raise it, but it also helps to secure our beautiful, elegant trim. Oops, there's my little bit that fell off. And just pop that on there. Now, I always say this is a quick and easy card, but this one is actually very quick. So you want to put this down about 1/3 from the top, somewhere like that. That, in the art world, that is kind of the sweet spot, as it's known. Just line that up. I hope that's straight. And then I just thought I'd use one of these beautiful brushed metallic dots. Now, we've got gold happening in the background. We've got this bit of string happening here. So I'm going to pop a big one. And yeah, I still haven't found my take your pick. I thought I'd just put one. You know, you don't have to over decorate everything. Sometimes less is more. So I'm going to hold those up for you, and I want you to just have a look at the difference, or lack of difference, between the more expensive metallic paint and the less expensive metallic paint. There's practically no difference. So think about that. If you haven't got any metallic paints at home, don't go to a lot of expense. If you can purchase the cheaper ones, this is basically a kid's metallic paint set. So yeah, this one has got lots of beautiful metallic other colours in it. So yeah, think about that. But if you've already got some, use them up. Like, we used a tiny, tiny little amount, and it just made such a big impact on those 2 cards. So I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what you think. Let me know about stepping up our beautiful designer series papers in this particular way to create just that extra bit of, you know, pizzazz and oomph. And I'll see you on the next video. Everybody, stay safe, and thank you so much for your time. Bye.